I can't remember the last time that Mac was off, but I'm choosing to leave it off for now because what I want is I just want you and me to have a talk. I should say, by the way, hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which, despite the Mac being off, is always and forever for writers like you and me who use and who write on Macs, but also on iPhones and iPads. Also, this is not a usual episode, but in general, do subscribe or support 58 Keys on Patreon, because there is always so much to talk about. Just, I think normally it's always to do, with writing apps, with writing services, new devices, things like that. And actually, there'll be some of that today. There will be apps today too. But what I would like, instead of, here are some apps that are good for writers, which frankly I do a lot, let's this time start with how we're writers and we have a problem. Possibly. Probably. Look, I've come to suspect, right, that the true definition of a writer is someone who doesn't write but feels really bad about that. Okay? I mean, not to be a smart ass about it, well, not deliberately. Anyway, you know that the solution when you haven't been writing is to write. Just right. It is. It's always and forever the same thing. It's one word after another, and there is nothing else you can do to do it. No trick, no cheat to get going. But starting to write, that's hard. Starting writing again after maybe you've left it for a while, that's murderously difficult. But we've got to, though. We've got to. So, here's a 58 Keys about getting to. Let me say that this business of restarting your writing, of getting on with the writing when you haven't been doing it for any reason, haven't been doing it for a while, when you've fallen off the wagon, that's the phrase I'm looking for. It's not like this has come from nowhere. Okay. Now, actually, I'm reasonably sure there probably hasn't been a day in my adult life when I didn't write something. But lately, I did that phrase. I did fall off the wagon, and I fell off in a big way. My novel had stalled. It's better now. Thank you for asking. But also, and this sounds trivial. I was a little ill. I mean, really little. You'd have to be a man to even call it a cold. But it was enough so that I was kind of reduced to writing only what I had to, right, and doing the meetings and the work only that I had to. And by the time, a week, 10 days, whatever it was, that I was feeling kind of human again, I was 6 miles behind them, or actually 74 tasks behind. So whether it is specifically writing for you that you've fallen off, or it's like the whole thing, your writing business and everything, still there are times we have to get on with it. And I would like to recommend an approach that uses 3 apps. Omni Outliner, a to-do app such as OmniFocus, and a writing app like Omni... No, I'm kidding. The Omni Group doesn't make a word processor. Omni Outliner is close, I suppose. If Omni did release a word processor, I'd definitely have a look at it. But anyway, the third one, a writing app, whichever one it is, up to you. Well, I mean, actually, all of them are up to you. But I have these strong recommendations for these particular apps. And actually, more usefully, I think once you've seen what I mean with those, well, obviously you'll get what they do, but you'll also know what you've already got on your Mac, your iPhone, your iPad that may help you do the same thing. And actually, let's get on with this. Let's start with number 1, the writing app of your choice. So please take Microsoft Word, Apple Pages, Scrivener, Final Draft, any writing app you have and that you like, and do this for me in it, please. Start a new document, brand new document, blank, and then write something in it for the next half an hour, 30 minutes. Something new, something unrelated to your current project, whatever that is. And if necessary, something totally rubbish, empty even. If you ended up typing, I have nothing to say, over and over for 30 minutes, well, yeah, you won't. I mean, you're a writer. Your writer mind will send you off somewhere. I'm not saying it'll be any good, but it'll send you somewhere. And anyway, even if you did, nothing to say. Fine. One of my most successful projects, actually, this is pure chance. Please don't fall over. I have a book called The Blank Screen, Productivity for Creative Writers. Okay, a key part of it, something that I have benefited from countless times in my writing career, is to do actually with spending 1 hour on things. So not 30 minutes, like I've just said, an hour. I don't know that would be any use when your writing is for this thing. It is for kickstarting something new, or just actually like morning pages, getting the writing muscles going, even if it's just a stream of writing you'll never use again. I suspect an hour isn't right. But now that you have done a half hour doing the writing of anything, nothing to say, please turn to your current writing project, whatever that is, and then spend an hour on that. This is really important. And actually, I will bend your ear backwards in the book about why. But for now, shortest version, forget everything else. Your job for the next 60 minutes is to write in this current project you're working on. And I mean 60 minutes, not 59, not 61, straight up 60, and then you stop. At worst, you'll have made a sentence or two of progress. But the thing is, most importantly, you'll be kind of over the hump, and you'll be mentally back into writing this thing. Coming back to doing more later will be easier. And actually, at the other worst, the nice worst, by the end of the 60 minutes, you could be so into it. It could be going so well that you don't want to stop. Stop anyway. If you go on, you will stop when you run out of steam, when you run out of enthusiasm. And so in that case, instead of either being, you're keen to continue or just glad you survived the hour, you'll instead be ending when you're at a low point. And it is much, much harder to start up your writing again from a low point. Much easier to start it tomorrow when you've ended on a high note. There's more about that actually in the book. But anyway, next app, Omni Outliner or your similar app of choice. There isn't a similar app to Omni Outliner. I'm just lying to you now. There are many outlining apps, okay, and yeah, they definitely do. If what we were going to accomplish now was to outline a story or something, but instead we're going to outline, I suppose, ideas, manage ideas. Open Omni Outliner or whatever and start typing. Everything that is pressing down on you, everything that's physically stopping you writing. I mean, you're exhausted after a day of work. You're under financial pressure, medical pressure, all the pressures we have. Just whatever it is, write it down. And I don't mean write down anything elaborate. It's not a diary entry. I don't want anything long. This is not for me. It's not for anyone else. It's only for you. So only you need to understand what you've written, which means if you just write mortgage by itself, fine. That'll do me. Write enough so that you can look at it and think about it. This is writing to get something out of your head so that you can then get your head to focus on it instead of everything being this circulating mass of worries and pressures. There's so much more we could do here, but just the act of putting it all out in front of you in anything will help. As overwhelming a lineup of issues as it might be, doing this is literally facing it, and it will seem at least a little bit more manageable now it's in front of you. I say Omni Outliner so strongly. Did you pick up on that, Omni Outliner, that I may have mentioned it? Because what I then do in this kind of thing, just this is optional, but it's what I would do, is I've got all these things and I would start shuffling them around. I might put all the financial stuff together. Just group things, change things, order them in priority. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time on priority, but whatever's most on my head, I might move to the top. Omni Outliner is really good for moving around and rearranging and all this sort of stuff. If you're not going to do that, actually, the more I think of it, any word processor will do. The object is out of here, on there, so you can look at it. You are superb at constructing structures in stories, thinking how to do things. What you're rubbish at, because we all are, is when it's all in your head, messing around. It's like things are competing with each other. Put it out, make it plain, and you will see things you can do. Last app. Now, again, your choice. I am recommending OmniFocus, the to-do app, because, well, to be honest, frankly, I pass people on the street and I'll say, hello, isn't OmniFocus great? Or, hello, I might say to a group of people with chairs around me, I'm an OmniFocus user and my name is William. Actually, OmniFocus might be a bit of overkill. But I tell you what, after we're done with this, have a look out for the 58 Keys 3-biscuit guide to OmniFocus. It's not there yet. It should have been. It was going to be this week, except I kept finding more things to say about it, but it's coming soon. There'll be a link in the description when it is there. and look at OmniFocus then. For now, take that or things or any to-do app at all, reminders, anything. Reminders is excellent, by the way. And write down some tasks. Now, you're never going to write a task like add more magical realism to the diatribe between the protagonist and the protagonist's pet dog or something like that. What you're going to do now is write out to-do tasks like, buy William's book. That was my best straight face there as well. What I mean, putting that out of reach. You're going to write specific tasks that are actually to do with your non-writing. A repeating monthly task like good advice is pay off the credit card that has the least on it, or research grants. That's a task. The thing is, your writing is not something that you do after everything else. And it's also not that writing is more important than anything. It's that this is you and this is your writing, your everything else together. It's all part of who you are, what you're doing and what you're dealing with. And what can help, say, is a financial worry. What can get a work task or a house chore done does then also get you more time to write. And as well as, hopefully physically more time, more hours in the day to devote to writing, it also makes that time easier. It is so hard to write when you're, this, so hard when you're under pressure. Anything that lifts that pressure a little can make an enormous difference to your writing. Listen, that's it for this edition of 58 Keys. Now, I think it's been a bit of an odd one, really, much more weighted towards us as writers and toward our writing than towards apps and tools, but kind of like that. Actually, I like that we got to talk about this. And you know how it is, when you explain any idea to anyone else, it leaves you understanding that thing better. Well, yeah. So, tell you what, you go tell another writer all of this, and I will now go get on with my novel. How's that? Okay. Thank you very much for watching. Now take care of yourself. Eh? Write more. We need this. It's good for us. And I'll see you soon.